Hi and welcome to Civilian Synth Guy. Yesterday I had this short idea for a riff that I just recorded the MIDI on into Logic with my Muse, and I wasn't very inspired, so I thought I'd just show you how I struggled through to make something. And the first stuff that I recorded was this. Yeah, so I've figured as much as this that it was in an odd time signature, but I wasn't quite sure. So what I did was that I recorded it and I created 4 different segments with 4 bars with different time signatures. First a 6/8, then a 5/8, then a 6/8, then a 7/8, and that sort of adds up. I don't think I totally play within those time signatures in this riff, but it was actually quite fun to add some session players on that. So the first thing I did was to analyze the chords, and these are really simple, just A minor, G flat, G major, D minor, D minor, and E7. So it's really basic. And then I thought I would try to add a session bass, modern Motown style. Get the drum started. Yeah, you get that nice uneven feeling. Then I added some drums, session drummer, and I used the Scientific Method drummer, and then it started to sound like this. It's really fun to play around with sliders and settings in the drummer, and I think the result was quite okay. Yeah, so I'm following the chord rhythm. I tried following the bass, but I thought this was best. And you can play with the ghost notes. Just get the result that you think fits. So then I had some kind of foundation for the track, and I just repeated these 4 first parts 4 times, and then I made a new section here, which is basically the same. I just have A minor and G major and D minor, and then B minor 7, B5, just to get a little bit of variation. So we get different chords, a different chord at the end. And that sounds like this. Yeah, so I kind of like that, and that's basically how far I got yesterday. And I also tried, I repeated this once more. Go back to A. Yeah, and then I repeated this once more because I added a melody. And then I thought, well, let's try to transpose. And then I selected the chord track, and then the cool thing is that you can just transpose up and down as much as you like. And I transposed 2 set up. 2 half steps up to B minor. And what Logic does then is that it transposes the session players. So you have to remember to select the MIDI parts and just push Alt and the arrow keys, and then you can just go up. In an earlier version of Logic, you can do this in there was a separate global track with transposition, but that was before you got the chord track and everything. So in a way, that was a little bit more convenient, because if you did transposition, it would transpose all the MIDI. And I think also the audio, if you just had remembered to put it into the flex mode. But this also works. You just have to keep some kind of track of what you do with the separate MIDI regions. But luckily you have this number here where you can see how much it is transposed. So I just call this A+2, and it goes from A minor to B minor. Yeah, it's a little bit different playing in the Moog part. And basically that's it for the accompaniment. And what I did then, that I loaded in an instance of the OSTirus. So when it repeats, I just double the melody with another lead from the virus, and also I add some arpeggiated stuff like this. Well, not arpeggiated, it's just a short digicoto sound, just to fill out the original Moog riff. And then then we come to the transposition, and then I added part session player, the modulated pad, and then you can just drag and drop the region onto a MIDI track, and then it will still be a session player, which is really cool, because then now it's playing a virus patch, but I can go in and well, I can't do everything because I can't do LFO and stuff, but at least I can change complexity, and I can change the way it's playing and the voicing and stuff. So, and that sounds like this. Yeah, so it's just, if I change the range, it will be lower. So it's really convenient, because then I don't have to play the chords, and this is so simple. Now I have everything in the chord track. So it's just an easy way to fill out your arrangement. And then I also added the session player with the built-in Logic synth at the start and at the end here. And that's a slow build-up, more like a dance style kind of sound. But actually, I think it sounds quite nice. So here you get this 16 bar build-up in the first part. We can listen to how it sounds in total. Now we can hear it. Yeah, now it's getting stronger. So there we go from the just not very inspired starting riff on the Muse. And I just forced myself to keep on working on it, and then you got something like this. Yeah, so there you go. Maybe you get some inspiration from this. Just keep on trying to use what you have and play around with the possibilities within Logic. It's getting really advanced, and yeah, it's just fun, and you can always make something even if you are really not inspired as I was. And I think this is okay for just a few hours messing about with the DAW and trying out what different sounds like. So thank you, and hope to see you next time.